One of our committee members noted that many school districts are currently refunding outstanding debt because of the historically low interest rates. Reductions in Plan-Con reimbursement payments result when school districts lower their interest costs or retire their debt early. Rather than simply incurring new debt for lead and asbestos remediation projects in schools, would it be possible to repurpose avoided Plan-Con payments for such projects?
Yeah, the Plan-Con does not allow for only 25% of Plan-Con expenditures can be used for remediation, and I don't believe there's sufficient funding there that would address it in the level that we're planning to address it with our proposal.
The governor, proposed this $1 billion capital budget itemization RCAP eligibility program. Do you know how the administration arrived at this $1 billion figure?
Yeah, I mean, when we hear certainly we've heard most from the city of Philadelphia, but it's not simply a Philadelphia issue. Their estimates are much larger than $1 billion, so this is really just a starting point to address these needs across the state.
I'm sorry, Philadelphia alone has $1 billion in need?
More than $1 billion in need.
It's my understanding that it's $170 million in need.
That is not what we have heard.
Okay, and who told you that it was $1 billion from Philadelphia?
I can't think of who told me at this point, but I'll get back to you.
Over how many years does the administration plan on spending this $1 billion?
I don't know how long once, the application period would have to open, grants would have to be issued, and I'm not sure if there's a time frame on that being complete, but the project has to be completed before the money is distributed.
And are you planning to go to market for a single $1 billion bond or break it up over several years?
So, we need to amend the debt bill as well as the itemization bill, and our plan would be to go to market for not just that debt, but other debt that we have the opportunity to refund at that time to save some dollars. So I think to answer your question, it would be a $1 billion at once.
And are there any particular criteria for a school district to get funding?
I mean, they would have to submit a project proposal, and it would have to be reviewed by our RACB team.
Are school districts that have already remediated their lead and asbestos issues eligible for money as a reimbursement?
No.
And you said the RACB team is going to be deciding who's awarded the money as well?
Yes, they would have to review those applications.
Since the RACB requires a project to be listed in the capital itemization bill, don't you feel that this form of issuance is going to delay the time frame for the monies to be issued?
No, there's an itemization bill out now and could be amended to include this information in it.
Secretary Rivera had indicated that the required 50% match for RACB projects would be subject to negotiation. Is this accurate?
Yeah, I think there are several different things that can be used to meet that obligation. It doesn't have to be just cash. It can be assets as well.
Does it mean that there will be a reduced or no local match for these projects?
No, I don't believe so.
Will every school that applies receive funding?
I guess it depends on how much need there is out there and how many dollars we can distribute.
So if there isn't enough funding, then how will the determinations be made as to which school districts receive funding?
I guess they'll be reviewed by project and how critical they are.
Is there going to be more definitive proposal provided to the General Assembly of what the governor's suggesting? Because it's really just like this general broad $1 billion, debt structure.
Yeah, I think there's language that we'll need for both bills, and we'll get that to the General Assembly.
Okay. Do you know approximately at what point in time you'll be able to get that to us?
Soon. I'm not in charge of the legislation.
That's fair, but in terms of the actual proposal itself and how the distribution of the funds will be provided to the school districts, I think that's important for us to be aware of prior to initiating any kinds of legislation. Is that something that you'll be able to get to us sooner rather than later?
Yes.
Preferably before the end
Soon.
of March would be great? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I see my time is up.
Representative Cephas.